All right, and welcome to Horse Lick Review, episode 11.
I know it this time.
Yeah. 11. So, Jake, things, how are they going? It's been a little while we've been together. We only had one show last month.
Going all right, man. Playing a lot of new video games. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. It's in like early stages. It's essentially Starship Trooper with dwarves.
That's nice.
And then Goblin Stone. Been playing that a lot. And then a buddy of mine has convinced me to start doing Helldivers 2, so I just downloaded.
Dude, I've been watching so much shit about that. If you get a chance, if you haven't already seen it, there's a dude that does videos, and he goes into games, and he's usually got a buddy with him playing along as a lower soldier. But he goes in as like this drill sergeant.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, he goes up to other players, and he'll be like, "All right, soldier, are you ready? What are you?" Blah, 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 just going off on him. Like, I mean, hard is the character.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, the whole fight, once they drop, during the drop, when they're waiting to drop on the planet, I mean, never breaks character. This dude is excellent at it. Like, he'll be like, whenever he's like under fire and shit, he's like, "We got bugs," and all this just crazy shit. And like, these people at the end of the videos will be like, laughing their asses off and be like, thank you guys so much. That was the best and most fun game I've played on here so far, just because them being in character so hard. Like, so that game looks fun as fuck, dude.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I literally downloaded it and drove here to do this.
Oh, sweet. So you're gonna get to play it soon. You'll be home and it'll be done. It's gonna be like a present, opening a present. So you want to start? You want me to start?
You can start, man.
Okay. First thing I'm going to start with is something pretty interesting, I thought, from Global News. Jack the Ripper's, the police file, is finally made public after 136 years.
How racist is it?
And it's going to go to auction.
How racist is it?
It's going to auction. So I don't know, like... and this right here, it's showing the lot in this picture. If anyone wants to go search Global News, Jack the Ripper evidence file. It's pretty cool. It's got, a cane. Like a bunch of stuff. Several photographs, letters. The identity of notorious serial killer Jack the Ripper remains an unsolved mystery, but now a police file in the infamous case has been made public after 136 years. Killer who became known as Jack the Ripper after writing a taunting letter to police using the moniker, savagely butchered 5 prostitutes in Whitechapel, East London. Most people already know this story.
He killed an or he did.
But Inspector Joseph Henry Helson, who was serving in London's Metropolitan Police at the time of the murders, maintained and kept the file. And according to Sky News, so this is... they're reporting. I'm reporting on Global News' reporting from Sky News' reporting.
All right.
Now we'll go. So it's going to auction, and it contains a number of artifacts that will likely be seen as collectible to the right bidder. So yeah, I'm sure like big time, serial killer collectors, they're out there. There's a ton of them.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be, I bet you this goes for how much do you think this will go for?
Oh, at least 100,000 probably, dude.
Yeah,
because people are super into that. But it kills me. Do you remember, like, for probably the past 30 years, every 10 years, it seems like somebody's like, "I solved the Jack the Ripper case. This is who it was," and that's happened like 10 fucking times.
Nobody knows. Dude.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like they keep cropping up with like the same, or with different theories. It was the surgeon, the royal surgeon, like in From Hell or whatever. Yeah. And then it was like
that prince that had syphilis or whatever.
Well, somebody thinks it was. There's some people now. Like one big theory is it was H.H. Holmes. Like he was in England at the time.
Was he really?
Yeah, and they think he did that before, I guess, opening up whatever the fucking hotel it was he had.
Wow, I've never heard that one.
You haven't? Oh, you'll have to look into that. That shit gets nuts.
And it says right here, the file was passed down through 4 generations of the Helson family. So it was never kept in any kind of police archive or anything in London. It was with this family the whole time, the inspector's family. And it's going to auction, contains a number of artifacts. Yeah, we already said that. Be considered collectible. And it says included in the file are 2 photographs of Michael Ostrog, an early suspect in the case,
Yeah.
who was ruled out after his alibi showed he was in the mental asylum of a French prison when the murders happened. Photos have notes on the back listing Ostrog's aliases, criminal record, and physical appearance. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
1880 something. That's like clear as hell. You know, you look at other 1800s and early 1900s photographs. Like I have a photograph of my great grandfather. That was probably from the early 1900s, and it's still done where they do the drawing over it. You know what I'm talking about? How they would add detail.
Okay.
Like drawing or whatever the hell they did over them, over photographs. That looks that's like excellent, dude. But so yeah, it's postcards. The Jack the Ripper sent to the police. Photographs of suspects. There's a cane. It's cool having all the notes that he left, like bragging about his kills.
I just like the idea of him sending more modern style postcards, like, you know, it's pictures of his victims or something, and it's like stab one, wish you were her, talking about the cops.
Yeah. That was. So yeah, it doesn't really say when it's going up for auction, but I mean, I'm gonna keep an eye out for this because I want to see. Oh, this right here is only saying it's estimated to be worth about 17,000 Canadian dollars. I feel like it'll go for a lot more than that, though. I think people will start if you had the right people. I mean,
I would think, man. Like, how many damn heavy metal songs are based around like Jack the Ripper? Like,
I know.
Judas Priest has one. Ozzy Osbourne has one.
Ghost just had one on one of their most recent albums.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to get somebody that like is obsessed with Jack the Ripper, and like some celebrity with cash is going to pay a lot of money for that.
You all right?
Yeah, sneeze.
All right. What you got?
Let's see. I'll go with the spy pigeon.
Spy pigeon. Everybody likes a good spy pigeon. Hit it.
Indian police clear a suspected Chinese spy pigeon after 8 months in bird lockup. New Delhi. This is from the AP. Indian police cleared a suspected Chinese spy pigeon after 8 months detention and released it into the wild Tuesday. News agency Press Trust of India reported. The pigeon's ordeal began in May when it was captured near a port in Mumbai with 2 rings tied to its legs carrying words that looked like Chinese. Police suspected it was involved in espionage and took it in, later sending it to Mumbai's Bhai Sakarbai Dinshaw Petit Hospital for Animals. Eventually, it turned out the pigeon was an open-water racing bird from Taiwan that had escaped and made its way to India. With police permission, the bird was transferred to the Bombay Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. His doctor set it free on Tuesday. Mumbai police could not be reached for comment. It's not the first time a bird has come under police suspicion in India.
Talk about some paranoia.
Oh, see... In 2020, police in Indian-controlled Kashmir released a pigeon belonging to a Pakistani fisherman after a probe found that the bird, which had flown across the heavily militarized border between the nuclear-armed nations, was not a spy. In 2016, so there's a history of this, going back about 8 years. In 2016, another pigeon was taken into custody after it was found with a note that threatened Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Who are you working for? I just picturing like a pigeon in an interrogation room, like
you're gonna sing like I'm
got him hooked up to a car battery.
Stool pigeon. That's it, man.
All right, that was a good one. I like it. Here's one. When I was looking up more like heinous crimes.
Okay.
This one popped up a few places, but I went with ABC News' listing. 2 men charged with blowing up woman's home, planning to use large python to eat her daughter. They planned to mail dog feces and dead rats to the home and scalp the victim.
I want to know the order of operations for this plan.
Well, I think they actually did blow up the house.
Okay, but like, what I want to know. Hopefully, the article goes into: were they planning on having the python eat the daughter, and then What was the other thing besides blowing it up that you said?
Blowing up the house.
Yeah.
Using a python to eat her daughter.
Yeah.
And they planned to mail dog feces and dead rats to the home for whatever reason.
Okay, so
and had a plan to scalp the victim as well. So
you would think scalp.
So I think they were just going to blow up her home. Just to maybe the plan was just to blow up her house, whether she was there or not. But then scalp her as well. This is this is weird. Over here, let me read this. 2 men have been charged after allegedly bombing a woman's home and planning to release a large python into the victim's home to eat victim's daughter, according to prosecutors. Stephen Glosser, 37, and Caleb Kinsey, 34, both from Richmond Hill, Georgia, are alleged to have used electronic communications to place the unnamed woman under surveillance from December 2022 until January 2023 with the intent to kill, injure, harass, or intimidate before using an explosive device to blow up her home, according to a statement from the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Georgia.
I want to know, do you think when they were listening, because they had her under surveillance, so they were obviously listening in on her, do you think they were just sitting there like a Bond villain menacingly stroking the python, being like, "Yes, soon you shall eat that woman."
Yeah, like the claw and fucking Inspector Gadget.
It's like that. You see that, but except for funny. You see that, buddy? You see that? You see that long noodle, danger noodle? That's gonna be your dinner. She's gonna be your dinner.
How do they think this would work? That's what I don't get. How you gonna explain in Georgia a python just randomly being in a house?
Oh, that's kind of easy if you think about it. Florida's not too far from Georgia.
Oh, that's true. They're
overrun with snakes because a lot of people bought snakes and released them into the Everglades.
Yeah, that's true. They're having problems with those, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they've been having problems for years.
It says the conspiracy charge describes using cell phones to create a plan to kill, intimidate, harass, or injure the victim through methods including shooting arrows into the victim's front door, acquiring and releasing a large python into the victim's home to eat the victim's daughter, mailing dog feces or dead rats to the victim's home, scalping the victim, and blowing up the victim's home. Prosecutors alleged when they announced the indictments against the men last Thursday.
They're all over the place with this plan. I'm starting to think that
they're pretty fucking stupid.
That they may not have thought it through. They may not be mentally stable.
Maybe they were just maybe it was all just the brainstorming process. They're like, hey, bro. Because I thought...
That's what it seems like, dude. It seems like they came up with a bunch of ideas and put them on a dartboard.
It hasn't said yet why.
Yeah, I want to know the motivation. It's like you wanted to kill the victims.
Let's blow her house up, and the other one's like, "Oh man, it'd be cooler if we really fucking her up. We put releasing a fucking python in the house, and letting it eat her kid, bro."
Yeah, what do they have against the daughter, man?
I'm gonna scalp her.
Yeah,
and I think it was just ideas.
It just kept snowballing.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Let's do all of it."
Do you think they even got around to buying the python?
I don't know. This is the indictment further alleges that Glosser located the victim's home using internet searches, mapped out a path to the victim's residence, and then, with Kinsey, acquired and built an explosive device at Glosser's home using tannerite that Kinsey purchased online, according to the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Georgia. Officials say the 2 suspects then used a destructive device to blow up the victim's home on or about January 13th.
Yeah, that's real vague.
2023.
Destructive device.
So, Glosser and Kinsey are now charged with stalking, use of an explosive to commit another felony offense, conspiracy to use an explosive to commit a felony, and possession of an unregistered destructive device. Kinsey has also been given additional charges of making false statements during the purchases of a firearm and possession of firearms by a convicted felon. So he's probably pretty screwed.
I don't see anything about illicit snake training, so I don't even know if they got the damn snake.
It says if they're found guilty, the penalty for their alleged crimes carry a statutory penalty upon conviction of up to 20 years in prison, with an additional 10 years upon conviction for the charges of using an explosive to commit a felony. There is no parole in the federal system.
Oh, so you can't be charged with trying to use a snake to commit a felony?
I guess
what is that?
They just planned to release a snake in.
Oh, and they never bought it. See, no fucking follow through, dude.
Yeah. It says nothing about the snake anymore.
Dude, I'm hung up on the snake. I don't know why.
That's just sad. It's like you make a plan, an elaborate plan to feed, stealthily release a giant snake into someone's home so it'll eat their child.
Yeah, come on now. Well, and you can get the tannerite. You can get the tannerite for the explosive.
You built the bomb, but you couldn't get the damn snake.
Yeah. Snakes got to eat. Snakes need jobs.
All right, what do you got next? I'm just mad now.
Yeah. Disappointed. I wanted more about the snake. All right. I've got... What? Police charge man... This is also from the AP, but police charge man with killing suburban Philly neighbor after feuding over defendant's loud snoring. Hartford, Pennsylvania. A suburban Philadelphia man is accused of stabbing to death a neighbor with whom he had long feuded over the accused man's loud snoring that could be heard through a wall connecting their homes, authorities said Friday. Christopher James Casey, 55, was age 55. Like, I don't know why they do that in a damn article. Christopher James Casey, 55. He's the 55th one in a vat of clones.
And the vat of Casey, of whatever
James
his name was.
Casey.
James Casey's.
He's the 55th.
He's the 55th to be
and he was
released
defective.
upon.
Yeah, and he was defective because apparently, like, he's sensitive to sound and it makes him violent.
Apparently 54 of them were defective.
Yeah. Did they also stab 54 other snoring men? But anyway, was charged Thursday with causing the death 4 days earlier of Robert Wallace. That is a weird way to write that sentence. Who the coroner found had been stabbed several times. Wallace, 62. So the victim was apparently the 62nd.
I wonder how many of those Wallaces were killed by those Caseys.
Oh yeah, maybe they're natural enemies. Maybe it's like Pokemon. You know, this was the Charmander to his Bulbasaur. But anyway, Wallace, 62, removed a screen from a window in Casey's home and opened the unlocked window as Casey was eating dinner. Sunday, and after a verbal confrontation, so he crawls into his house and starts arguing with him. Imagine that shit, dude. You're eating dinner. Somebody crawls into your house to fucking yell at you.
Did it say about what?
Hold on. Yeah, let's get there. After a verbal confrontation, Casey stabbed him in the chest with a large military-style knife. God, again, vague. What kind of knife?
Casey was the one that crawled in that guy's house?
Yeah, Casey was the stabber. Wallace was the stabby.
And Casey was also the trespasser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stabbed him in the chest with a large military-style knife, according to Upper Moreland Township Police and Montgomery County Police prosecutors.
I was about to say, if it was the other way around, I almost wouldn't blame the guy.
Oh, yeah.
The guy just crawled in my house.
Yeah, stab him. I get it. You're probably cutting up a steak or something anyway. You just get him with that. Police said Casey told them Wallace had not been menacing him or threatening him when Casey stabbed him in the doorway of Casey's home. Wait, so he comes in through a window and somehow he ends up in the doorway before he stabs him?
But they don't specify which doorway.
Yeah, the kitchen window doorway. They had been having personal issues for the past year and a half, prompting several police calls over Wallace's complaint about his snoring. Casey told investigators during an...
They didn't live in the same house?
No, they were connected by like a wall.
So oh, okay.
Like a duplex.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, what?
Casey told investigators during an interview Sunday night at Abington Hotel. After about 20 minutes of speaking through the window, Wallace appeared to calm down and wanted to shake hands and offered to help pay for nasal surgery to alleviate Casey's snoring. Casey told police, according to the affidavit, Casey unlocked his front door holding a knife and a stun gun under a blanket. Casey described Wallace as being very volatile, very strong. He's angry type of person. He's angry type of person, police wrote in the charging documents. Casey said he did not believe Wallace's intention of try to work this out and shake hands and try to fix this situation was genuine. As a result.
So the guy who stabbed the other guy was the one who was snoring.
I guess that's what's messed up.
He stabbed the guy who was complaining of his snoring and offered to help him fix his snoring. Help pay. What the?
As a result, Casey just decided... It's so weird, dude. As a result, Casey decided to surprise him by stabbing Wallace with a knife. Police responding to Casey's 911 call found Wallace about 50 feet from his home. He later died at a hospital. Casey required hospital care for what police called a self-inflicted and accidental stab wound on his leg. The window screen was outside on the lawn and the window opened when police arrived. There was blood inside and outside the home. Casey told emergency dispatchers that Wallace broke my window. Police said in an affidavit, quote, I attacked my neighbor. He came to attack me. Casey was charged with third-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, and possessing instruments of crime. Oh, dude, that'd be a fucking sick album title.
Instruments of crime.
He remained jailed Friday with bail set at $1 million. Go ahead, what are you going to say? I only got like 3 sentences left.
Oh, I was just repeating incidents of crime.
Oh, instruments.
Instruments.
No lawyer was listed for him in court records. Prosecutors and police could provide no information about whether Casey has a defense lawyer. Efforts to reach a family member who might be able to comment were not successful. And that's the end of that.
That's the end of that.
That's the way it was.
All right. Next one I got comes from Sky News. This one was pretty cool. It's funny. I found it funny that this guy lasted this long. But anyway, it says alligator twice the size of a man seized after being kept illegally in home. The 11-foot alligator, called Albert, was allowed to swim with other people in the water, according to officials. Its owner has vowed to fight for his pet's return. An alligator kept in a home since the 1990s has been seized by authorities in New York, but its owner vowed to fight for its return. Environmental officers seized the 340-kilogram, 11-foot-long alligator called Albert from a home in Hamburg, south of Buffalo, where they found a swimming pool for the 30-year-old gator.
Hold on one second. This is the second time you've had an alligator pet story.
I know.
Like, where the fuck are you finding these? Why are there so many people with pet alligators?
I think there's a lot of people with pet alligators, dude.
I like how, though, like, I don't think any of them have been in Louisiana. I think one was Florida, maybe. And that makes
like,
sense.
They all see enough alligators.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, fuck this. I don't want one living in my home.
Yeah.
But it says, according to the State Department of Environmental Conservation, the homeowner allowed people, including children, to get in the water with the reptile, which had blindness in both eyes and spinal complications. So he's disabled, bro. He probably can't even hunt correctly. Let the kids swim with the 11-foot alligator. The owner's license to keep the animal expired in 2021, meaning it has since been kept illegally. Oh, so that's the only reason they give a shit. It's
it's not because he was throwing fat kids in the pool with him, so he had a chance. It was because he didn't have appointment.
Officers took action on Wednesday after learning the extent at which the owner was seriously endangering the public, according to a
by
statement
not having
from
a
the
permit.
Tony Cavallaro said Albert had been with him since the 1990s and promised to fight for his return.
We listened to Nirvana together, man.
He said he treated the alligator like it was his kid and that he never put anyone in danger. I'm not dangerous. I'm not being unsafe with people, Mr. Cavallaro said.
Don't you see him? Look at him. He's chill. He's wearing that backwards hat, as was the style in the 90s.
He's got a skateboard and a bright orange shirt.
You see that? He's wearing a shirt that says "No Fear" and he's in his Bugle Boy jeans.
Sometimes he likes to wear his the old water cup design shorts. You know, the white with the.
He liked Bugle Boy for a little bit, then he switched to Jinko.
State environmental officers haven't decided whether to bring charges. The reptile has been sent to a licensed caretaker until a place is found where it can receive permanent care, according to the agency. So, this guy, this is what I don't get. Okay, yeah. Legally, his license did expire in 2021.
Yeah.
They're using the excuse that he's putting people in too much danger to just screw this guy because his license is...
Yeah, just fine him and make him get another license. Like,
tell him, hey,
worst,
we're going to take it if you don't get a license by the next 2 weeks.
Exactly. And
he's had the thing for 30 years and hasn't done anything to anybody. It said it's blind. It said it has a spinal cord injury. Like...
Yeah. If anything, this dude is this alligator's emotional support human.
Yeah, and it's like he's keeping it alive. It probably would have been dead a long time ago. Like,
what was the name of the alligator?
Albert.
Albert? Yeah, justice for Albert.
Free Albert.
Yeah.
What you got next?
This poor fucking, like, crippled, blind lizard.
Yeah.
Like,
let me go back to it real quick. Look at this picture of him. People can go online. Look at pictures of Albert who got taken away. But look how sad he looks, dude. He can't even see what's going on.
He's blind,
His
man.
eyes are really close together. He's all fucked up.
Yeah, they're just fucking with that guy. That's a sad-looking alligator, man. Normally they look like vicious monsters, but no, that one...
He looks like he's like literally looks sad.
Yeah. He doesn't know what's going on. Strange noises.
Yeah. No sight. Just like, it's sad.
All right, I've had this one for a few weeks, so it's kind of old now. But, January 31st, 2024, not too bad. But Elmo responds to outpouring of angst on social media. Since BBC,
yeah,
everybody like
people did not expect for people to like
yeah use Elmo as an internet therapist. How is everybody doing? The answer, it seems, is not great. When Elmo the Muppet innocently asked people how they were on X, formerly Twitter, Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Yeah, no one's gonna call it X. Thousands of users replied, sharing their grief and despair. The Sesame Street character has now responded, saying he's glad he asked. I can't do an Elmo. And posting the hashtag.
Great try, though.
Posting the hashtag emotional well-being. U.S. President Joe Biden agreed. Posting. Our friend Elmo is right. I can't do a Biden either. Our friend Elmo is right. We have to be there for each other. It's, like he's there for
anybody.
Yeah. He's not even all there himself.
For himself, yeah.
It all began with a casual question posed by the much-loved children's TV character on Monday morning. Elmo was just checking in. How is everybody doing? He asked on X. Cue a collective breakdown by the internet. Elmo, I'm suffering from existential dread over here, wrote one user. Every morning I cannot wait to go back to sleep. Every Monday, I cannot wait for Friday to come. Every single day and every single week for life, another wrote. The world is burning around us, Elmo, said YouTuber Stephen McInerney.
I think everybody just took the chance to just be ridiculous with this, too. I think, a lot of the people are probably serious because...
Maybe, man, but that's a tactic from a lot of people, like for children, in traumatic situations to use a puppet because kids are like comfortable and they'll talk to the puppet.
Yeah, which is what I mean. Like, so a lot of people were probably serious, but I think a lot of people probably took also at that time just to be like, ugh.
Yeah. Celebrities such as actress Rachel Ziegler joined in saying she was resisting the urge to tell Elmo that I am kinda sad. Perhaps the timing of Elmo's question was to blame. It was never going to end well to ask such a question on a Monday morning in January at the end of a month that many people feel has gone on forever. But the furry red-haired Muppet was not fazed by everyone dumping their troubles on him. Taking to, it says X, but Twitter on Tuesday night, he wrote, "Wow, Elmo is glad he asked." Hey, it's getting better as I go on.
Yeah, a little bit.
Elmo learned that it's important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you.
Keep working, though.
Hashtag emotional well-being. Yeah, I keep cracking. It's like Elmo's going through puberty. Other Sesame Street characters also spoke up to support their friend. The Cookie Monster wrote,
Me here to talk it out whenever you want. Me will also supply cookies. Hashtag emotional well-being.
I used to be able to do that better. Ernie's best friend Bert added,
I don't even remember Bert's
yeah,
voice.
I could do Ernie. Ernie's easy. Hey there, Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
Why can't I remember?
Because I think he just sounded like angry. He's like, I'm here for you if you ever need a shoulder to lean on.
I feel like Squidward was kind of built
yeah.
off of Bert.
I'll make us both a warm cup of tea. Yeah, I mean, that's... No, shit. No, that was... Nobody remembers what Bert sounds like. Spot on. I was perfect.
It was.
Don't look it up.
Perfect.
Sesame Street also waded in, sharing a link to mental health resources on its official Twitter account. I'm not calling it X. And Elmo's efforts to support people's emotional well-being were praised by President Biden himself, who said he agreed with the puppet. Not the first or last time Biden will agree with a puppet, him himself being one. I know how hard it is some days to sweep the clouds away and get to sunnier days. The president wrote on Twitter. More likely had someone who has a grasp of technology write on Twitter.
No. I mean, like Trump was probably the only motherfucker actually writing on his own Twitter.
Yeah, they were like, "Sir, please stop. Like, please, for the love of God, have someone else do this for you."
Yes, exactly.
We have to be there for each other. Offer our help to a neighbor in need, and above all else, ask for help when we need it. Like how we helped the Israelis bomb Gaza. No, that's not what he said, but that's probably what he meant. Even though it's hard, you're never alone.
You know what this reminds me of? I just learned recently. Did you know the Challenger?
The shuttle?
The shuttle. The Challenger that exploded?
Yeah.
Everybody watched on TV. Blow up.
Yeah.
They originally were going to sing Big Bird on there with them.
God, can you imagine? Like, dude.
Kids witnessed Big Bird die? Yes, I learned this recently.
Wow.
And instead, they decided, I can't remember for what reasoning, but anyway, they decided against it, and that lady who was a teacher or whatever, she got to go.
Yeah.
Of course. We saw it. We know what happened after that. But like,
Big Bird used his
another universe.
Big Bird used his black magic to curse the shuttle flight, is what I think.
Another universe. Big Bird blew up on the Challenger, bro.
Well, in another universe, besides that, Big Bird was the first Muppet in space instead of fucking it blowing up. That's one small step for puppets, or that's one small step for Muppets and one large leap for Muppet kind. Hey,
that was pretty good.
Big Bird was good.
It threw me off so much when I heard, like, when my kids started watching, and the protege of the original guy, because he was old as fuck, he finally retired. And the protege that had been learning
how to do Big Bird
for years took over. The voice was like just a little bit off, and I was like, this is fucking with me like really hard, because I grew up watching Sesame Street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved Big Bird when I was a kid. But like, it was just so, I don't know why I'm talking about this. But anyway, it was just really weird for me, because the voice was just enough off.
Yeah, that you knew it.
Yeah. My kids, of course, didn't.
I didn't even know. Like, I haven't seen it in so long that I didn't know that they had changed. But
yeah, he had retired. He had to stand in that suit with his arms straight up in the air constantly, and like, he was old as fuck too, dude. He might be dead now. I don't even know.
Yeah, see, that's why I never really cared for Elmo, man. He always stole, like, Grover's thunder. Like,
Snuffleupagus, for the longest time, I didn't realize either that he was Big Bird's imaginary friend.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I remember some of that, yeah. I don't know, man. Who do you think the greatest Sesame Street Muppet is? Because it's like
greatest Sesame Street Muppet.
Because I loved Big Bird.
Grover.
Yeah, Grover's up there, man. Big Bird when I was a kid, but Grover was
Super
cool.
Grover, dude.
Oscar, Cookie Monster. It's got to be
classic. I mean, Grover even crossed over badass into books, dude. But there's a monster at the end of this book.
Yeah.
That book is one of the greatest children's books of all time. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think that's why I don't like Elmo, man. Is because, like, Grover was the man until Elmo showed up.
You know, it's like, I have this weird, when I think about, Elmo's been around for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Like,
but he
longer now than, you know what I mean, than, you know, like, he's, never mind, I'm not going to try. Yeah. He's been around for fucking ever. When I think about it, it feels like he only came around when we were kids, but he was around like when we were tiny. Like,
I only remember him coming around like when they brought out that Tickle Me Elmo when I was in like 5th grade.
I'm pretty sure he was around in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah. I will look this up after I get my next article.
Who else is who's the greatest Muppet Show Muppet?
Muppet Show Muppet?
You know, like Kermit and all the...
I can't give it like a bias. It's probably going to be Kermit, really, but like, I just have ones that barely make any appearance. They're just like side characters
like
that I just love.
Like Sweetums?
Which one's Sweetums?
The big hairy one with the
great
huge
big
mouth.
dude.
Yeah,
yes.
with like the fangs.
The human is in the entire suit.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that guy. I couldn't remember his name. I was about to bring him up. Animal, of course.
Oh, I love Animal. Animal was my dude.
Oh, you know, like, oh yeah. I mean, there's too many good ones, but like a lot of the side characters that aren't as involved. I really love.
Like Rizzo the rat.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Gonzo's
I love
great.
Gonzo.
Yeah.
He's always involved though. He's one of the goats.
Swedish chef.
Turdy Flair, Sporgy,
I love when they were doing his stuff on YouTube where it was just Swedish Chef, like short stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Have you seen those?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, those were really good. Me and the kids used to watch those, and like the Phenomena guy.
Oh, the little...
Phenomena, that guy. The little caveman, whatever the hell he was. All right, I'm on to my next one. I just thought this one was funny. This comes from UPI. Just odd news. Zookeeper dresses as white tiger for escape drill. It has a video and everything. It's obviously, you know where it's at, right? Come on.
Florida?
Japan.
Oh, okay.
A Japanese zoo held an escaped animal training drill featuring a costume performer mimicking the behavior of a fugitive white tiger. He's running on all fours. He's in like a hoodie with the hood up. It looks like a tiger head. The Tobu Zoo in Miyashiro Town, Saitama Prefecture, held its annual training drill Thursday with a zookeeper putting his tiger expertise to the test by pretending to be an escaped animal.
I watched hours of footage of Super Sentai that the tigers are.
Video from the scene shows the zookeeper wearing a sweatshirt with a tiger's face on the hood, prowling on all fours, while other zoo employees put the facility's escaped animal plan into action. The zoo's team put up net barriers and used simulated tranquilizers to subdue their colleague before securing him with rope and returning him to a secure area. I think this is all just a big sex game. Zoo chief Masaru Kaminaga said the annual drills are an important training exercise. In the event of an emergency, it is important for each person to understand their role and respond accordingly. So, I mean, that's the gist of it. I just wanted to talk about this because I thought it was cool. If people want to go on UPI, they can watch the video of the guy like prowling around. But there's a segue from this too. Is I just recently saw that video. I forgot about it. It's been years now. It's been over 10 years now. But I think it was India, where the guy intentionally jumped in. He might have fell, but they said he was mentally unstable into the tiger enclosure.
Yeah.
And people were filming, and the white tiger, it was a white tiger, got him. Like, it was first like had him against the wall, and the guy was like putting his hands out trying to keep it away from him, and it was kind of like batting at him like playfully at first.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it just went in this switched modes and just like kind of like hopped back in this like aggressive stance, and then just went at him and grabbed him by his fucking neck and just drug him off, dude. Fucking killed the guy. And it's on video. I watched it. It was pretty disturbing.
So he Siegfried him, like with Siegfried and Roy? Because it was Siegfried that got bit, right? Or was it Roy?
I don't remember which one, but he got like, yeah, he was mauled. But it didn't get at top of his head more?
Yeah, but he didn't.
Scratched him up and shit.
Yeah, but he didn't die.
No, this one just like death grab, like how they do when they grab food. Crushing the fucking jugular. You know what I mean? Like,
you remember that weird limited series Siegfried and Roy cartoon that was like an adventure cartoon set in like a weird fantasy universe? Like it was on Fox Kids.
No. When did you cross over into my universe?
Dude, I don't know. I think it was like somewhere between 5 to 10 episodes long, and it was like those 5 minutes where Siegfried and everyone knew who Siegfried and Roy were in the 90s.
I guess.
And they were like adventuring wizards or some shit. It was fucking weird. And then at the end of each episode, it would like, you know how they'd always cut to like the live action stuff when they were
Was this when we were kids?
Yeah.
So what, early to mid 90s?
Somewhere between 95 and 98, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, because you're a little bit younger than me.
And then like back in the day when like they'd cut to, if it was based off like a real person, they'd cut to like a live act, like, like MC Hammer had that fucking cartoon.
I was about to say, I remember Hammerman.
Yeah, with his magical pants.
He put up the magical shoes. It was the
shoes.
He put them on his feet.
Yeah. Yeah, they would cut to it, and like Siegfried and Roy would be standing there with their tigers.
Yeah, the shoes had like a mouth and eyeballs.
Oh yeah, they talked. Yeah, I used to watch that.
And before he would turn into Hammerman. And that's when he would have the pants and you know what's funny about that is another
that they made a fucking cartoon about.
One, they made a cartoon about MC Hammer, but now I've watched several videos, short videos about people in the business, rappers and people and like that were like kind of tied into organized crime, gang type stuff.
Yeah.
He was one of the most dangerous motherfuckers around.
MC Hammer?
Yes. That's what all these guys are saying. He did not take any shit, and he had an entourage that was like fucking 300 people deep, like all the time.
So like so was his name like MC Hammer for weird part, like he used to kneecap motherfuckers or something?
I don't know. He was just like, all these people are saying he was just like, you did not fuck with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look it up. YouTube. Look up some of the stuff about MC Hammer being like, people didn't mess with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. Man.
Like, there was one I didn't watch. I don't know how true this one was, but the title and everything was saying that Suge Knight was even scared of him.
Jesus Christ, dude. Are you going to tell me like next Tone Loc was like just snapping
I don't
necks?
know how true that one is. I did not watch that one. So you can take that with a grain of salt. And don't hold me to that.
Man, I'm just trying to think of like the rappers that seem like real wholesome or whatever. Jazzy Jeff was a monster.
I mean, because he was like, he had that one song that was really popular. What was it? Pray. It was all about like praying.
Oh, I thought you were going to...
You got to pray. Remember that song? You got to pray just to make it today.
Yeah, oh shit, yeah, that's real dark now that you think about it.
Well, you know what? Toward when he was going downhill, remember he tried to cross over into gangster rap for a little bit. And he was just Hammer.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I vaguely remember him trying to do something like that.
But it didn't go over well.
Yeah, but he was too legit to quit.
He was, apparently. What do you got?
Amber time. All right. Texas Dairy Queen workers were selling meth with soft serves, police say.
What the fuck?
This is from USA Today.
I like this.
A group of Texas Dairy Queen employees were arrested after officers accused them of running a methamphetamine ring from a store in the town of Clifton. According to the police statement, investigators received a tip in June 2023 that several employees in the local Dairy Queen were selling methamphetamines at their job, and in Clifton, about 35 miles northwest of Waco, making that the most tragic thing that's ever happened in Waco.
Oh, for sure.
Nothing bad's ever happened in Waco.
Ever. Waco was a wholesome, perfect town before this.
The department opened an investigation and started looking into the employees, police said. Oh, hold on real quick. No, never mind. There was an I was about to read the headline to another article because it was interesting. But then it wasn't. Operation Blizzard. Quote, makes a sweet discovery.
Did they really call it Operation
I'm
Blizzard?
guessing, yeah. As police began their research, they named the investigation Operation Blizzard. The operation, which set up undercover drug buys at the Dairy Queen on numerous occasions.
Hey, man, at least they're having fun while they're busting meth heads.
Yeah, at least they're having fun while they're violating people's rights. Man, it said they bought it on numerous occasions. So he's like, "Oh man, you know what? I need to get me a Reese's. I need to get me a Reese's Blizzard. I need to do some hot rail some meth right now. I need this Blizzard to cool down after I hot rail this meth."
So does it say how exactly they were selling it, like doing it?
I think we'll get there. I actually read this one like weeks ago. Let's see. On numerous occasions, led to the police suspicion that the employees were allegedly selling drugs at other locations around Clifton, and more people were involved, according to the press release. 10 arrests were made after a search warrant was granted. On January 16th, Clifton Police Department obtained a search warrant of an apartment at the Bosque Village Apartments on South Avenue. Police arrested 2 people and seized methamphetamines and other drug paraphernalia. On January 26th, a bunch of catalytic converters. We're calling these drug paraphernalia. On January 26th, at approximately 5:45 a.m., the police department was granted 2 additional search warrants. With the help of the McLennan County Sheriff's Office SWAT team, police served the search warrants at 2 addresses on South Avenue East 8. People were arrested. Avenue East. 8 people were arrested. 5 of them had outstanding warrants, and 2 were in possession of methamphetamines during the search, police said. The workers involved in the drug ring are no longer employed at the Dairy Queen place. Oh, damn, man.
Since they can't get to work, because they're in jail.
Oh, wow. And the
So
article,
it doesn't
the article abruptly.
So they weren't actually selling while selling?
No. They supposedly they were doing it out of there, but like, dude, there used to be like a thing where
I'm hoping they were going to tell us that people would come to the drive-thru and they would order ice cream and then give like a code word.
Well, yeah, that used to happen at like a McDonald's around in Owensboro at one point. Dude used to sell weed out of like the McDonald's thing, which you had to set like because he was the drive-thru guy, but you set a special thing and you gave him extra money, and he dropped like your sack, like he dropped your sack in your sack with like your quarter pounder or whatever.
Nice.
That was like before
A quarter with your quarter pounder?
Yeah. That was like before my time with that stuff. The first time I ever bought weed was from a dude at a Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah. I used to have a buddy who...
And like it was the dude, he was working the counter, man. Like he was like, oh, hold on, I gotta take a break for like 5 minutes. And then he like, sold us weed in the parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've known of and heard of a lot of, selling through drive-through windows.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
So I was just hoping there was like details and how they were like what the people's, like they figured out the code. It was Operation Blizzard. You think they would have a lot more information on like what the code word was?
I imagine like unless they're just trying to be clever with it, I imagine it really had to do with something with buying ice cream from Dairy Queen and not so much like, I got the chicken tender meal or I got the flamethrower or whatever. It's like
they'd be like, give me a vanilla soft serve with extra sprinkles. Just something simple.
give me a dilly bar with extra dilly.
Yeah.
And don't dally.
Give me an M&M Blizzard and 1 bag of meth, please.
With Norm Macdonald, Norm Macdonald ordering it. Yeah, I'll have a Blizzard and a big bag of meth.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
All right. I got one that's pretty cool here. It's from timeextension.com. Someone has finally found a use for the NES expansion port.
All right.
The little part you can screw off on the bottom from the toaster version.
Okay.
It says, utilize the potential of the commercially unused NES expansion port. I thought this was pretty cool because these modders, they come up with some sweet-ass shit, you know what I mean? And it says, of course, during the 80s and 90s, it wasn't unusual for console makers to equip their machines with expansion ports, like this. Of course, with an eye on the future developments, these ports, in theory, would allow accessories and bolt-on devices to augment the power of the base system. The Super Famicom with the Satellaview and obviously the Mega Drive CD, Sega Genesis had the port where they put the Sega CD attached to it. But the NES was never used during its lifespan. So hacker and modder Retro Time is looking to make use of the port via the NES Hub, a new homebrew accessory which will offer a wide range of applications. The NES Hub is a plug-and-play solution which will pave the way for things like 4-player Bluetooth support, Super NES controller support, Famicom accessory support, and the ability to run various third-party devices and add-ons. RetroTime is looking for more beta testers to continue the development of the NES Hub and admits that it has only been tested on a PAL NES console so far. The price is also unknown and depends on a lot, he says, and depends a lot on the production cost of the connector. But let us know if this is something you'd like for your NES by posting a comment below. That's how it ends. But yeah, he has some pictures here on his on his Twitter account. He posted Retro Time. Check him out. It's at Time2 Retro number 2. But yeah, it's gonna. I mean, that's cool, dude. It's gonna allow you to use Bluetooth devices. Can use the Super Nintendo controller on the NES.
That's cool. When do you think Nintendo's gonna figure out a way to sue?
I don't think with this. They're so weird though. Like they just shut down somebody recently.
Dude, they sue people all the time.
I understand protecting your IPs. I understand that.
Yeah, to a point, man. But
they get really ridiculous,
dude. To a point, because like they sit there is like, if I buy I've bought Donkey Kong Country, the first one, at least twice. Went back when it came out, and then one other time when I didn't have my cartridge. But they don't make shit like that typically readily available. Now, Donkey Kong Country is a bad example because if you've got Switch Online, you can get it. But a lot of stuff you can't get. You know what I mean? So you have to get the emulators. But you had it, you paid for it. But they want to sue you for having a damn emulator. It's like people will buy these games repeatedly. Like hell, I bought Mario RPG when it was on the freaking the Wii U.
Oh, the Wii U.
Yeah, I bought or the Wii. I don't remember, but I bought it on the online store.
The Wii's online store was awesome, dude. They had all kinds of shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
the Wii U was okay, but it wasn't.
They roll stuff off. They don't make it available, so people go to emulators. Dude, honestly, Nintendo could make millions, like probably tens of millions of dollars, if they would release some of their library to Steam, some of their old library, so it would constantly be available. You know what I mean? And I'm just talking about go from GameCube down, you know, because they make wired controllers for PCs.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to. It could be none of their flagship characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of them. And it would still sell. Yeah. The release shit that had nothing to do with Zelda or Mario or Donkey Kong, any of them.
Or Kirby.
Everything else. Yeah. Just like...
Yeah, like Battletoads and Double Dragon or something like
that's
a crossover.
Rare.
Yeah, but still, like things that
Microsoft now.
Well, yeah, but
they did just release that Battle Maniacs.
But they could probably like the one that came out for like Super and Sega or whatever. Or did it come out for Sega too? The crossover between Battletoads,
yeah,
Double Dragon.
It was on NES too.
Yeah, they could things that they had licensing deals with. But then again, I don't know if they'd make money for that. Like, who the fuck has the license for like Maximum Carnage? Like, because LJN's not a company, and didn't they do Maximum Carnage?
LJN's still around, aren't they?
Are they?
I don't know. Let me look it up. You want to look it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll fucking look it up.
All right.
But yeah, like, I understand. Yeah, if they would do that, like release, I guess they would. It would have to. I take that back. Like, that was kind of dumb of me to say because it would really probably have to be Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong and stuff like that, like, or other things they own, for them to make anything. Because, like you just said, like Mega Man, Capcom, any of those old games, they're on their systems because they were about the only system around until, you know, Sega Genesis dropped. And then, like,
but even then, man, just put it on there because what are you've got? You have nothing to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh. No, it says they dissolved in 1994. LJN. They were acquired by MCA in 85, sold to Acclaim in 90, and then dissolved in 94. And they actually made some decent games towards the end of their lifespan. Yeah, they made the 16-bit era.
Yeah, they made Maximum Carnage, I'm pretty sure. And they may have made Separation Anxiety. Which those two Spider-Man games were great.
Well, yeah, we did that playthrough a while back, and I loved it. Like, Separation Anxiety is fun as hell. Only complaint I have it is like the character design is a little bit not as detailed and well done as Maximum Carnage.
But I wonder,
it's the trade-off. It's 2 players.
That's what I thought.
You know what I mean?
Because I don't think they've got the power to do it and have 2 people.
Yeah, I mean,
playing.
I don't know. It's like there's a little bit less detail, but it was still cool looking. And, like, I love having the fucking Ghost Rider come in and swinging that chain and flinging fire everywhere, dude.
Who do you think's the best? Who do you think's the best summon?
He's the best.
He probably is. Who's the best in Maximum Carnage, though?
Wasn't Cap in that?
He's in both, and he does kind of the same thing.
Just throws his shield across the screen.
He kind of sucks in both.
Was Ghost Rider in both?
No, you had Deathlock, though. Deathlock was pretty decent. Cloak was really good in as a summon in Maximum Carnage.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Cloak was in that.
Yeah, Cloak was really good. Firestar was good if you're going against Carnage any any given point, like she was great because weak to fire, so she'd pretty much ice him. But if you found the secret one where they got the sonic gun from the Fantastic Four, so if you're Venom, Spider-Man will come out and like blast him with the sonic gun, or if you're Spider-Man, Venom will come out and blast him with the sonic gun.
I forgot about all that stuff. I haven't played Maximum Carnage in a while.
Yeah, you got to get that icon behind the tree when you're fighting on the roof.
I didn't know that shit, dude. Behind a tree on a roof.
Yeah, you don't see it, so you have to back up to almost like where the edge of the building would be.
Shit. Like, I didn't know any of the secrets in Maximum Carnage, and that's probably why I never beat it as a child. So it's just kiss my ass, man.
Well,
you ever beaten Maximum Carnage?
Other thing you gotta know too, man,
Donkey
is like
Kong Country.
Other thing you gotta know too with Maximum Carnage, if you really want to beat it, the first time you can pick between Venom and Spider-Man, you fucking pick Spider-Man because Venom's levels are hard, and then after that. After you get the first choice to switch between the two, you pick Venom every time because then his levels are easy.
I look at this and I'm thinking it's really fucking weird to me that I never beat like Donkey Kong Country or Maximum Carnage. It's different to beat 'em up. Beat 'em ups are always fucking hard. They're always cheap. Yeah. They're always trying their hardest to fucking rip you off and kill you. But like Donkey Kong Country, I never beat that as a kid. And it's weird to me because
are you trying to tell me you've never beaten Donkey Kong Country, the first one, to this day?
No, I've beaten Donkey Kong Country. Okay. But I never beat it as a kid, which is weird to me because I beat fucking games like Sonic and Sonic 2.
Yeah.
And Joe and Mac.
Yeah.
Which the Sega Genesis port is a port of the arcade. It's the closest to the arcade version.
Yeah.
And that game, I go back and play that game now, and I get my fucking ass kicked, dude. Bad. I beat Tiny Toons, Buster's Hidden Treasure on Sega Genesis. That game is hard as shit. But maybe I was like the age. Maybe it was at the time I played Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
It was, 95? 94?
I want to say somewhere between 92 and 94, the first one.
The first one?
Yeah.
And I don't think I played it until later because I didn't have a Super Nintendo until later.
Yeah.
Like, my cousins, ended up just, leaving their Super Nintendo at our house. I don't know why. But, it just became ours. But,
that was the first game I had on...
So, I think maybe the reason I didn't... Sorry to interrupt. But I was playing shit like Final Fantasy 3.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger. Shit like that when I finally got to play it. Mm. And I liked it.
Yeah.
But I didn't maybe I just didn't feel like dedicating the time to try to get all the way through it because I was playing RPGs and stuff and I was in that mode. Because at that time, I remember the main games I was playing was playing Chrono Trigger over and over again.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking great.
No, it's awesome.
But also trying to figure out, because at that time, we found out there were more than 10 endings, but I had no idea. And I was trying to figure out how to get a bunch of different endings, as many as I could figure out. And then I was playing Street Fighter on Sega Genesis with the 6 button. That was my favorite because I had, what was it? I think it was super. It was you could turn the hyper all the way up and it was fast as hell. But anyway, so maybe that's why. Let's move to the next one because I'm wasting a lot of time talking about video games now. What do you got?
This will probably slow down the conversation a little because it's interesting, but it's not nearly as cool as all the rest of the stories we've had. From Yahoo Tech, researcher accidentally discovers material that's stronger and cheaper than concrete, and its potential is dizzying.
Oh, is it that?
A material that got its start in the Arizona desert is showing up in science journals with astounding reports that it could transform our buildings and infrastructure. That's because ferrock, Ferrock, has proved to be a tougher and more planet-friendly material than concrete. It's a story that started more than a decade ago at the University of Arizona with doctoral student David Stone, when doctoral student David Stone won an innovation contest for his cement substitute made with waste steel dust. Stone was awarded a patent in 2013 for ferrock, and he started Iron Shell to commercialize it, according to a university report. This all started from an accidental discovery in a lab, which is actually the way it usually goes, end quote, Stone said. Innovating more sustainable building methods is the focus of researchers around the planet who are using all sorts of materials, including fungal networks and straw.
Oh, shit. You know what this means?
Oh, that the
concrete industry is going to start offing people with hitmen.
Oh, I thought you were about to come up with a conspiracy about mushrooms, fucking taking over our minds.
Oh, that's good. That's later.
Yeah. Waste steel fits right into the mix. The search to find sustainable alternatives to current construction systems is causing many new materials to emerge. Ilvi Bonifin wrote for Certified Energy in a story about Ferroc. For the materials part, it is stronger than concrete by several metrics. 13.5% for compressive strength, 20% for split tensile strength, and 18% for flexural strength. All at 28 days, according to Science Direct. It's made from steel dust that is usually thrown out and silica from pulverized glass. In fact, 95% of the materials that make Ferroc are recycled, making it a cost-friendly option. There's also some impressive chemistry that happens when it hardens that pulls carbon dioxide from the air, reducing pollution.
Whoa.
All per certified energy. We produce over 4 billion tons of cement around the world annually. The manufacturing process generates as much as 8% of the planet's air pollution, according to a story from Reuters about concrete and the environment. Pictures of Ferroc published by Certified Energy show slabs like bricks used for an apparent patio and a slurry form that hardens to make a wall. The report noted that small-scale projects are more feasible until large amounts of the waste steel can be reliably sourced. The Certified Energy writer encouraged more research into Ferroc and other sustainable building materials. And if Stone's words from 2014 are still true, he is at work trying to bring Ferroc to the forefront.
Here's the thing, though. It makes too much sense.
Oh, it does.
So it's never going to happen.
True, until they can get their hooks in it and make it profitable for themselves. And that's even if, because like that's the whole thing with like...
Somebody will shut him down.
Well, it's the whole thing with like lithium, dude, is like technically electric cars could be what they say they are, but they're not. Because they run off those lithium batteries, and lithium mining is awful for the fucking environment.
Yeah.
So not like... And they don't know where to dispose of the batteries. And if you see like the waste pits and what like lithium mining does, it's terrible. Like you're pretty much doing just as much damage to the planet as gas cars. Like you just are, because of like how they're made and the waste.
You might be saving money.
Yeah, you're saving.
But you're
money.
not saving the planet.
You're not. But that's the PR thing, is they tell you like, hey, you're saving the planet. You're doing this. And it's bullshit because they don't tell you about that. And it's the same thing with like fossil fuels. It's because now all these people have millions and billions of dollars from lithium mining for the batteries in your phone, the batteries in your car, and stuff like that. They don't care about like the cost, like who's got to fucking mine these in third world countries and what it's doing to the environment. However, here's what's recently come out. There's an article, I don't have it, but before we started doing this podcast, I read an article about they figured out, and I don't remember exactly how many times strong. I want to say 4 to 8 times stronger than lithium batteries. They had figured out how to make hemp batteries. So there were people like they're easy to produce. They produce more power, and it would make it environmentally friendly.
Well, and everybody knows, and has known for probably almost 100 years now, that you can grow hemp over and over.
Yeah. Without
and over
like
and over without having to cycle
think.
the soil, move it in the same area.
And that's what I'm saying is like you could literally like electric cars and hybrid cars would be exactly what they say they are if they went on that. Now, the people when I read that were early enough in the research where they are not able to bring it to market yet. You know what I mean? Because they would have to get patents and all this sort of shit. But it's going to get shut down, you know, because the people that own the fucking lithium mines are going to make sure it gets shut down.
Well, and this shit right here is like, it's cool too when you said like it removing.
Oh yeah, it can like take some of the carbon, yeah.
And then like, but also like using pulverized glass and all this other shit that we have excess amounts of, like that they could gather from, because nobody's recycling. I don't know many people who recycle. You know what I mean? We don't even have an option here, an easy option where I live.
Yeah, well,
to recycle. But that's cool. It's like it could be shit they could gather. Like if they found a way to like gather it from fucking landfills and shit. It's stuff that they could use and get rid of.
Well, there's technologies out there, man, that should be utilized that are actually like, because that's the problem with like a lot of the green stuff. A lot of the green stuff is just they slap a bunch of environmental shit on it and they try to say, look, this is what you're doing, but it's an industry to make you feel good about yourself. It's not actually trying to do anything. But then there's actual technologies that are helpful for the environment that'll do things, but it seems to me, and I don't have any, I can't, it's just anecdotal, but it seems to me the more they try to say it's green, it's green, it's green is when it's like it's not. But the more they actually talk about,
it's
they
more
don't
of a brown.
Yeah, if they don't see, yeah. But if they don't sit there and like use the buzzwords like it's green, it's green, it's green, and they say stuff like this where they're actually telling you the facts.
Yeah.
That tends to be like when they give you the facts with everything, that tends to be like, for lack of a better term, actual green technology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of stuff we could be doing with that, you know, like, and we don't have to give up a lot of shit, man. Vertical farming works. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that where you can continue to kind of eat the things you eat and just you farm and do things like that in a smarter way. But anyway, the last quote of the damn article, after that long digression, I am into this for the long haul, he said. Time is on our side since this is an era of global warming. On our side, since in this era of global warming, unsustainable processes like cement manufacture will have to give way to greener alternatives. And that's the end of that.
That's the end. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Well, looking at our time, let's go into your. You had a little discussion point outside of articles. Let's get into it. I'll save the rest of mine. I didn't have a whole lot, but I'll save it for next time.
Well, they're technically list articles that we could kind of go into. Which one do you want to do? You want to do the super teams, or do you want to do one of the Lord of the Rings ones?
Well, you caught me earlier telling me about the Lord of the Rings stuff. What was the options on there?
Dwarves and how they're underappreciated. They're the most underappreciated, like, race of people in the Lord of the Rings as a whole, or
as a whole,
or lore changes from the movies that disappointed fans. I feel like that one. I skimmed that one.
Go to that real quick.
So let's see what we got here, and we'll go point by point. 10 biggest lore changes in the Lord of the Rings movies that disappointed book fans. This is from CBR.com, or Comic Book Resource. We'll skim the preamble. But number 10, we'll obviously agree with, erasing Tom Bombadil from the story was a mistake. Let's see what their points are. Tom Bombadil was a strange man in the Forest with an unknown origin and mysterious role. He is widely considered to be one of Tolkien's most powerful characters and was completely unaffected by the One Ring. Tom Bombadil is an interesting character in The Lord of the Rings. He is a fun and whimsical character that adds flavor to Middle-earth while also hinting at the bizarre undercurrents of the world. While he worked to help them, however he could, Tom's motivations were as mysterious as his origin. The curious nature of the character has made him a fan favorite, but Peter Jackson chose to set the character aside. There was a good reason that Tom Bombadil was not in the movies. While fascinating, Tom is somewhat of a distraction and fails to advance the plot. Bullshit. As much as other characters...
Fails to advance the plot.
Bullshit. He's one of the biggest advancements since they step out of the Shire. He could be excluded and replaced with ease, and this absence helped to streamline the movie. Still, it was disappointing to see an important piece of lore completely ignored. All right.
I don't agree.
I don't agree. I agree.
I agree that it was bad to remove him.
Exactly. Have. But the streamlining, first of all, like, you could have had a little bit more action immediately, because one of the strangest and the closest I feel like that story gets to horror is when after they leave,
the Barrow Wights.
Yeah, the Barrow Wights.
They would have died twice before they got out of the Shire.
Yeah, they almost get strangled by Old Man Willow.
Old Man Willow almost kills him. He sings the song into him.
They stay the night with him, and
he does his thing. He's very mysterious, and I understand, like, people don't understand what he is a lot of times, especially people who are probably adapting a film, and they probably read the books enough to, get to adapt it. But it's been pretty much figured out what he is in the community. Like, there's been theory upon theory, but the best theory I've heard, and I think it's the true one, is in the beginning, anybody that hasn't, the god Eru or Iluvatar created the world. He was making music, and he had the other gods making music.
Yeah.
And that's what formed the world. And then Morgoth, the original Dark One, he caused discourse. And so the theory is because Tom Bombadil makes he makes the reference of saying, or he says, I was here before. How does he say it? He pretty much states that he was there before the beginning.
So do you think he's essentially
He is an
embodiment of part of the music?
He is a like a physical incantation or whatever
Manifestation.
Manifestation of the music
the music
made by the gods of creation. And then if you read more in the Silmarillion with the character Ungoliant, I'm not going to go into her, but she's like pure darkness and all that, mother of spiders. It is theorized that she is a manifestation of Morgoth's discourse.
Oh yeah,
and they were both existed before the creation of everything.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't think I knew that about I don't think I'd heard that stuff about Ungoliant.
Yeah, so he should have been in it because one, he doesn't have to be explained.
Yeah.
He's mystery. And he's left mystery. And they explain, even at the Council of Elrond, why they talk about giving the ring to him, and they say why not to. Gandalf says not to.
Because he'd lose it, because he wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but, yeah, and I'm with you, and without going into it, because we got like 9 more points, that's the problem with a lot of things, is like, don't get me wrong, I love backstory. I love having a lot of stuff explained, and I love it being explored. But sometimes things do need to remain a mystery because if they're answered, like sometimes it's more fun to speculate.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you remove the mystery, you destroy the character.
And last but not least, I agree with you on the Barrow-wights part. That is a fucking dark, scary part.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool. It would have driven the story. I don't know what.
Well, he's the reason that's what kind of
driven the movie, the interest in the movie. I don't think people would have been bored or thought that pointless.
And that's how they find their swords too. Like it's not Aragorn giving them like, "Hey, look, I'm
just carrying around a bag of swords."
Yeah, right.
I got this sack. I just happen to have this sack of swords.
The
on my
sneaky
back.
Man of the woods who stalks prey.
Giant backpack weighs about fucking 200 pounds.
I guess that makes him more of a badass that he's carrying an armory on his back. He can still like what?
What's 9?
All right, the elves joined the Battle of Helm's Deep, and that is a big one.
Yeah, it was the Rangers.
Yeah, it was the Rangers, the Dunedain, but. We don't even have. They don't go into.
Talk about it in the. I've read reasoning before. They talked about that because the elves. They thought it would. I don't know. It was some reasoning that the elves were more involved in the story, I don't know. It was some stupid excuse. It's because they thought people would think it would cooler with a bunch of elves fighting. Is what they thought.
Yeah, but I thought it would have been like way cooler with just a bunch of like Aragorns.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like.
Just leave. Why change that?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
And they even like had like
we don't even need to get into their reasoning. We'll just talk like about it. Like
they even had one of the like elves, that weird looking crooked nosed dude. I don't even know who he is. I've never seen him in anything else. But they had him die at Helm's Deep and all that stuff. And like had this. They wouldn't put Bombadil in the movie.
Yeah.
But they made up this elf.
Yeah.
To try to get you attached to, and then have him die dramatically at the Battle of Helm's Deep. Now tell me how that makes sense.
You could have easily just done that with like a ranger. You know what I mean? It easily
could have had Tom Bombadil in the movie that was actually in the story. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I'm saying like you could like because it's not stated explicitly. I don't know how many
actual rangers and like Aragorn like interacting with them because they're his rangers, and then see one of them you might not be fully connected to because he's only in the movie in the story a short amount of time. But show Aragorn's
because I don't remember. I don't think they state whether any of the Rangers died.
But they probably did.
You would think, yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't be like disrespectful to just like one of them died.
That battle was one of the only times they also. I'm just going to add a little one here. Is one of my biggest gripes is making Aragorn look like such a pussy the whole fucking time. Like there was one time that he was ever actually almost overtaken, and it was at Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
When they're fighting in the rain, and he slipped on the steps, and the orcs were about to overtake him and kill him. And Legolas, I think it was Legolas, saved him, right? From above, shooting him.
Hey, don't forget, man, like, even though he wasn't going to be overtaken one-on-one, but him and, instead of that stupid toss me thing with Gimli, it was him and Éomer. Because it was him and Éomer because the riders of Rohan weren't with Éomer. Éomer came to Helm's Deep, if I remember right.
I think that's right. Yeah.
But they jump across and they start fighting the orcs on the gap. But Gimli had gone out the gate, and then when they're about to be swarmed by the orcs, Gimli rushes up, takes out a bunch of orcs, and saves their asses.
Oh yeah, but you know the movie had that explosive orc. Remember him?
Oh yeah,
The suicide bomber.
yeah. Hold on.
But anyway, next.
All right. We will have to read this one because I want to know what they're talking about. Oh, hold on. Let the article reload.
Yeah. Load.
The Army of the Dead became a massive help. So that's point 8, and I want to read this because I don't know what they're getting at. Because like I said, I skimmed this because I wanted to come into it raw and sort of debate it. I skimmed the major points. The Army of the Dead was originally little more than terrifying creatures, but the movie made them into warriors. Okay.
No.
Hold on. Let's finish it. The Army of the Dead is a curious inclusion in the movies. While they do appear in the books, having captured enemy ships purely by sparking fear in their foes, there's no insinuation that they can actually play a massive role in slaughtering enemies. Fear is their greatest weapon. Actual tools are somewhat beyond them. In the movies, however, the Army of the Dead is incredibly powerful. The dead men of Dunharrow join the fighting and butcher thousands of enemies within seconds. Instead of achieving victory through an implied surrender, the dead men simply amass a horde and cut down their foes. It is a brutal fight, but it is a severe departure from Tolkien's work, where the dead seemingly lack the capability of doing much more than serving as mere specters. I don't remember.
I can't remember this very...
Because they reference the part where they took the boats with the dead in the book. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about, like, the dead coming with them and how they got the boats to get there. But I don't remember too much about it. I feel like, I don't know.
I'd have to go back to that battle because I don't remember if they actually helped much at the actual battle or if he released them.
I know he releases them after, but I do remember that they were with him, and I don't remember if they're right in thinking they didn't do anything. It's been so long since I read the books, but
why wouldn't they be able to fight?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, I mean, other sort of spirit... Yeah, exactly.
Wraiths are fighting at that battle.
All right, here's another one that we... I'm not sure... Well, we'll have to read the points here. It says, the Witch King was far more powerful in the movies.
I agree with that.
I would probably agree with that because, dude, the thing that made me the maddest in, like, that extended edition is where he
shattered Gandalf's staff.
I fucking hate that.
Gandalf the White's staff.
Yeah. Gandalf's a fucking...
god.
Yeah, a demigod. You know...
I wouldn't even call him a demigod.
I just call him that because, like,
well, it's just
because he's Maiar.
He's a lesser god.
Yeah, he's Maiar, and the Valar I looked more as like gods.
Yeah, I guess every time I think of a demigod, I think of somebody who's like half, like Hercules or like Kratos in God of War or something like that. Like,
yeah, I get you.
Like part human.
Well, it's almost like
he's just
it would almost be like an angel to a god.
Kind of, yeah. But still,
yeah.
They're super powerful.
All right. But the...
nerding out over here, man. Sorry.
The Witch King had no right to shatter Gandalf's staff. Hey, all right, that's
exactly.
The first point.
He wouldn't have the ability.
Yeah, he would not. When the Witch King died, Gothmog assumed command of the armies, which that was that orc that they made up, because if you remember, Gothmog was actually a Balrog during, like, the first age or whatever.
Yeah.
I think during the fall.
Is that the one that died?
Yeah, the commander of the Balrogs, Gothmog. Not the Harvey Weinstein orc that they called Gothmog.
Oh God.
Hold on, we got more. Go ahead, man. But if
I was trying to think, like Gothmog, is he the one that?
I think he was the commander that I can't remember which elf kills
during to the death and killed him, right?
During Gondolin, I think. Yeah, the fall of Gondolin or whatever.
Oh man.
While the Witch King of Angmar has always played an important role in the Lord of the Rings, the movies made him far more powerful than the book. Character could even dream. The mighty Gandalf has always been a character with world-renowned influence. Realistically, even a warrior like the Witch King should never have been able to defeat him with ease. He could win, of course, but not particularly easily.
I don't think he could win.
Maybe. Guile, deceit, something. Like
maybe, yeah.
Getting him in the back. Because Gandalf is, to be fair, is not allowed to use the full force of his power.
But I think that the Witch King wouldn't take the chance of confronting him one-on-one.
He shouldn't, and also
he knows the rules of how he can die.
And Gandalf,
like the whole "no man can kill me." Yeah. Gandalf does not qualify.
Yeah, he wouldn't, and also Gandalf scares him off in the books, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But let's see. In the movies, however, the Witch King not only handles Gandalf's strength, but outright defeats him. He shatters Gandalf's staff, rendering Gandalf as shocked and awed as viewers could be. This fight did not occur in the books, which is necessary as the lore would never have made it possible. Hey, they're hitting some good points. After all, every character was uncertain about who would win that fight. Other than the uncertainty there, like, I agree with most of what they said in that one.
What we got next?
I don't remember this in the movie, to be honest with you.
What is it?
Binding Arwen's life to the ring. Like, which is weird, because I remember her, like, the weird shoehorned in story with her in the movie.
What is this? Catching an angel unawares? All that stupid bullshit too. It's like, come on.
All the shoehorn shit, but
Yeah, they could do that with Arwen. Again, can't have Tom Bombadil though.
Arwen's life being tied to the ring was entirely an invention of the movies.
We can make up a bunch of shit.
Arwen's sudden collapse was a bizarre element of the movie. While she had been seemingly strong and healthy throughout, her health decayed shortly after returning to Rivendell. The explanation in movies that Arwen's life... Oh yeah, Elrond did say that. It's tied to the ring, and she would die alongside the rest of Middle-earth if Sauron won his fateful victory.
Why?
Yeah, it made no sense.
Yeah.
That explanation... I think that's why I don't remember
just agree that this one is fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, let's not even read that. It was just dumb. I agree that it was dumb. In fact, I think I forgot about it until...
and now you're mad.
Yeah, because I do remember, like, Elrond shouting, her life is now turned...
Because as the fog goes over your brain from the movies, from not seeing the movies so long, you start to go, okay, they're okay. But then you start getting reminded of this shit, and you're like, oh yeah, now I remember why I fucking hated them.
The Grey Company didn't support anyone. Number 5. Peter Jackson completely left out the Grey Company from the movies. There are many more factions in the books than in the movies, largely because of practical filming restrictions and worries about audience engagement. Introducing too many people at once could risk losing the audience focus. That is likely why the mysterious Grey Company neglected to appear in the movies.
Which that doesn't make sense either, because there's a perfect example of a super, super duper successful show called Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which Song of Ice and Fire introduces about 50 billion different people and factions. And
yeah. Although people did get lost, to be fair.
Well, they get lost, some people, but people enjoy the fuck out of it.
Oh, I agree. So in the books, the Grey Company joined Aragorn and other members of the Fellowship as they launched into various battles across Middle-earth. They were powerful warriors with thousands of men. Nestled in the ranks, the Army of the Dead wasn't quite as important in the books, and it's because the Grey Company was meant to fill their role. By leaving the Grey Company out, Peter Jackson cut out an essential piece of the Lord of the Rings lore that truly showed unity between the elves and men. Alright, Sauron wasn't originally an eye, which, yeah, we don't have to really go into that. We don't really need to go into that. That was totally for visual.
It was cool.
Sake. It was all right. I didn't mind that so much.
It's cool looking. Like,
yeah, I didn't hate that, to be honest with you. I mean,
I have my dad's fucking original first print hardbacks.
Yeah.
And they have a depiction of the Eye of Sauron in different colors on each book. It's like orange on the Fellowship of the Ring, green on Two Towers, and like this purplish color on Return of the King. So I mean, that's always been kind of a thing. So
yeah, and it's sort of just artistic too, because
he refers to it as the Eye of Sauron, but he's saying him seeing you, or the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, and I don't feel like you have to take that like literally too.
Right.
Like I'll kind of actually defend
that
the
his
movie.
eyes at the top of the tower, like.
Well, and I don't mind that either, that it's on there, because if you look at it just like from an artistic standpoint, it's not really fucking with the lore or anything.
Just even a visual.
And I don't even look at it like he was actually the eye itself, because like
it's part of his power.
So like after he lost his physical form, and then he sort of like came back in the weaker form of the necromancer and was driven out, I almost figured it was almost like he was I don't know if it's described completely in detail, but I almost figured it was almost like he couldn't hold his physical form anymore, like he was kind of like a shade.
Yeah, that's what it's
like. I figured like he would be in the tower.
He needed the ring and the power he put into the ring.
Yeah, to
return his strength.
So I kind of looked at it almost like he could exist sort of within the tower, like maybe hold some sort of, maybe moderate, like maybe some sort of physical form inside the tower, possibly. It's never stated, but this is sort of
hold his control over all of his minions.
Yeah, this is sort of headcanon for me. Maybe he could sort of like manipulate things in the tower, but he had to be in like his place of power. And the way I would look at the eye is just like a manifestation of some of that power, being able to like look out, like what he could.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'll be like, nah. Massive timeline shifts made Frodo younger. I don't even want to look at that, except for the fact that like they made it seem like Gandalf was gone. I don't even want to look at their points, but they made it seem like Gandalf was gone for like maybe a couple of months.
It was years.
Yeah, and it was years in the book. So we don't. I'm sure Frodo is younger, but hobbits age weird.
Nobody understand the ways of wizards, man.
Yeah, I don't need to look at this, but hobbits age different than humans because they're not like adults till they're like 30 or 50.
Yeah,
I don't
wizards
remember.
don't give a damn.
Yeah, and then
No.
it doesn't matter because his age doesn't fucking come up. The hobbits' ages don't in the movies.
He
They
mentions it in the books, but it's nothing like they're clinging to.
Yeah, they don't play into it. Like that's something I don't need to know. But maybe we'll look into it. Yeah, he's 50 when he begins his journey,
Which is still young in Hobbit years. It's like barely middle-aged. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, I'll give him that. I didn't like the fact that it doesn't really tell us that how long he was gone, but it doesn't look like it was that fucking long because it's essentially like a montage, and then he's back and he's
yeah.
But whatever. Like that's some of the least of my favorites, or at least of my complaints. That you could have shoehorned you could put two other more legitimate complaints in here besides these
There's
last
plenty.
three. Like, Shelob being in the two, like the Shelob not being in the two towers and then being like, so they could extend Return of the King or whatever.
Yeah.
But, artistic elements were eliminated. Okay. Oh yeah. No, we do need to read this one. Poems and songs were hardly featured despite their importance. Yep. I agree. That's kind of a missed opportunity. There probably should have been like some songs and some poems.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or more, because there were like, I think they just did like
There was a complaint of my dad's all the time. There was no mention of any of the songs, which they kind of made up for in The Hobbit. But the
Hobbit was just
fucking
an abortion.
shit all over everything. Like it was like
Yeah.
That song that they did, the dwarf song at the beginning, that's the best thing about the movie.
Yeah, the Misty Mountain song is great.
Yeah.
And then also like when they're doing the dinner, that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
what Bilbo Baggins eats.
Yeah.
It's a massive element of the Lord of the Rings is the Rings lore is the songs and poetry that go into the world building. Yeah, because song literally built the world. Characters are constantly reflecting on the artistic side of Middle Earth, and that helps to make it feel more than a tired battleground. It adds the same whimsy that Tom Bombadil does, but without the air of mystery. While Gandalf does sing "The Road Goes Ever On" in the movies, there are few instances of artistic adaptation. The vast majority of Tolkien's music and poetry are ignored. It takes away from the world that Tolkien created and unfortunately creates a darker and more depressing tone throughout most of the movies. Ironically, that tone contrasts sharply with the change in the direction for the ending. So, I'll agree with that. That's a pretty good summation of that.
No more needs to be
Number
said there.
one, and that it said this is a good, ignoring the scouring of the Shire.
Yeah, that's a huge one too.
The scouring of the Shire was the proper conclusion of the book and enabled Frodo's exit. The end of Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings features a horrific fate for Frodo's beloved Shire. Saruman leads his forces to destroy the Hobbits' home, leading to a battle to decide the fate of their people. The Hobbits claim victory, but Frodo is devastated by the loss of so many lives
For
and
those
homes.
that don't know, Saruman
Didn't die.
didn't just die, fall off of a tower or whatever the fuck.
No, Gandalf...
He was stripped down to... He was essentially just turned into a mortal being.
Kind of, yeah, and that's the thing.
Because Wormtongue kills him.
Yeah, and so they show that some of it in the extended edition. They condense a lot of stuff. Like Gandalf, if I remember right, actually does shatter his staff in the with words.
Yeah.
Like since he's Gandalf the White now and outranks.
I thought the extended had him fall off.
Well, no.
Isengard's
So there's
tower.
part of it like Gandalf. I think does actually. I don't remember if Gandalf shatters his staff in the movie, but they do have the conversation that was missing, and I know in the books he shatters his staff, and then obviously Wormtongue at the very end of the Scouring of the Shire because Saruman escaped Orthanc with Wormtongue and went to the Shire. They have Wormtongue stab him in the back, and he falls off the tower, which, again, they sped that up, and it should have been in the Scouring of the Shire. He shouldn't have fallen off a fucking tower. And then that's also another thing, is it's like
fighting like fucking badasses.
yeah, it's like they took the cool, wizard wizard staff being shattered scene and made the Witch King do it. And it's like, fuck you. It's like you had to read the books to do that, but you put it somewhere else and you made it suck.
Yeah.
And same thing with the right guy kills Saruman, but at the wrong time in the wrong place.
I will stand by it. And I feel like some of these, like writers, a lot of times in Hollywood, they're like, it's almost like they're maybe unconsciously, but like mad that they're not, they're just adapting something. And so they're just putting their own shit in or they get this weird complex where they think they could do it better. And it's like, fuck you. You're just adapting something. Adapt it.
Yeah, adapt it. Again, I'm fine with a couple of little things, like that maybe, because we talked about, there's some moments where, like the Ranger thing, you could put that in there. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's moments to play with like that. Just don't mess around with, like, stuff that anchors the story. You know what I mean? Because of the shit, I kind of disagree with, I agree with the overall point, keep the scouring of the Shire in, but I was looking at this, I don't think I agree with this. Because of the scouring of the Shire, the books end on a painful note that lacks the sense of optimism of Jackson's movies. Jackson cut the final battle to allow for a more touching and fulfilling ending. It may have better suited the tone that he was hoping to communicate, but it skipped a massive piece of Tolkien's lore. I don't think...
That's the whole thing, is you're not... Peter, we're not supposed to be feeling what tone you want to give. You're supposed to be giving Tolkien's tone.
But I don't think... I don't think it ends really, like... I don't think it completely ends. I disagree with that the scouring of the Shire makes it end completely on a... There is pain, but there's also growth, because, like, you see the hobbits develop throughout the entire... Like, through all four of them go through a lot, and you see them develop... through the books, but... There's always, like, even at the end, the Eagles get Sam and Frodo. There's stuff going on in the background, but there's always, like, a badass warrior or something that's helping them. Like, don't get me wrong, Merry and Pippin do some great shit, and they do some stuff with the Ents.
Why not exactly, but why not just end it with, after Frodo goes and all that stuff, and Sam goes home to Rosie.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm home.
Yeah.
And that's what he says, right? Isn't that the line?
I can't remember.
Or I'm back, or something like that. And just have old Sean Astin smiling. Like...
Well, what I'm saying is it shows the fact that, like, there's no wizard around. There's no great fucking warrior. There's no, like, elven archer. There's no badass dwarf. It's the hobbits.
There's no armies.
Yeah, it shows that the hobbits have become self-reliant. They don't have to have those things. For lack of a better term, they don't have to have those crutches. They were able to do it on their own. There's hope in that. Yeah. And then on top of that is, like, yeah, it's painful that a lot of the Shire was scoured, but then there's also hope, because, again, and you could have done this because there's 50 fucking ends to that movie. You could have put this in there that, like, Sam's got the box of seeds. They talk about he regrew the Shire. He pretty much helped the Shire grow back to like, and arguably more beautiful than it once was, which again is a poetic way of talking about, like, the scars of trauma and war and blah 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 can be fixed and mended by the next generation. The next generation can do better. And then on top of that, you've got, like, where the hope is still there too, is like, yeah, Frodo's in pain, but he gets to go to Valinor. You know what I mean? Sam becomes the mayor. Eventually, like, Sam gets to go after, like, Rosie died, like, all appendices stuff, but Sam goes after.
Which, if people don't realize, Sam is the actual hero of the entire book.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
He's the real hero. Like, of course, they were symbiotic. They needed each other.
Yeah.
But Sam was the hero. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, even in the books, man, and I'm not shitting on anything, it's like, I don't care for Frodo too terribly much. Like, Frodo's cool, but he's
just the bearer.
It's because he has to bear all of the stuff. It's just like, he kind of loses himself throughout the thing. And I'm sure that's intended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's where Sam comes in as the actual hero.
Yeah.
Frodo's the ring bearer, but he could not have done it without Sam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sam is like, Sam steps up a ton. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. And like I still say, like, it's the difference too is because like all that weight and all that stuff is happening. Bilbo ends up being, of all of the stuff here, Bilbo's my favorite Hobbit, because Bilbo's just like, throughout a good half of that book, he does like some cool things here and there, but throughout like half of that book, like even at Riddles in the Dark, Bilbo's just kind of like, it seems put upon and doesn't seem like he
doesn't want to be a part of any of it. Is
doesn't
put
seem
out.
But then Mirkwood rolls around and he saves the dwarves from the spider.
Up, yeah.
Like when I was reading that as a kid, I was like, well, this is the moment where Bilbo's nuts drop.
Yeah.
And then Bilbo is awesome. But anyway.
But yeah, that was good.
Yeah, cool. 30-minute nerd digression.
Exactly. That's a good one. All right, man. I guess we'll end it here.
All right.
And
see y'all next time.
Yeah. Next time on the Horse Lick Review.